Thank God it's Friday. Monday's a brand new start. Wednesday, you're halfway home, and Thursday, the weekend's not far. Saturday and Sunday, you hang with your friends. What can you say about Tuesday? Nothing, not a damn thing. Tuesday bites, Tuesday sucks, Tuesday blows, go away. Tuesday's crap, Tuesday's lame, Tuesday's dumb, go away. Tuesday, Saturday and Sunday, you hang with your friends. But what can you say about Tuesday?
80.
Nothing.
We're going to see 80 at some point. Into the 80s, actually.
That's what you can say about Tuesday.
Yeah. I got to mow. It's an absolute jungle in my front and backyard. So that's getting done today. Dropping off a little bit later this week, but then I saw maybe next week back into the mid to upper 80s.
Here we go. This is spring.
So there's that. What's new on New Release Tuesday? We'll tell you about that a bit later on. Grant Bills of the Wisco Sports Show is going to join us just after 8 o'clock. We're going to hear clips of our interview with Bobby Friss, who is going to be at the Big River Rally along with Texas Hippie Coalition and Drowning Pool. That's at the end of June. Talked to him about a week ago, and, we were just busy, and I was on vacation, so I wanted to wait and hold off on playing some of that interview with Bobby Friss, which you can, of course, find online at rockmornings.com if you want to just give it a listen this morning.
Super nice guy.
Yeah, super nice, and very excited to see him. He apparently has played in the area, but it was a long time ago, and it was for maybe a private club, I'm guessing. It's
been years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Since he's been to this region. And other announcements about the rally yet this week.
Hit up rockmornings.com for all of our contact info. Listen to the show live on the website. Check out the daily podcast and make sure you sign up to win prizes, including Workforce Wednesday, which is tomorrow.
Look at you in your cute little new shirt.
This is one of many, actually. This is one of the shirts that I bought at the pop-up shop. This is just a generic Metallica, tour
So it has
t-shirt.
nothing to do with this particular show?
I think it's got the tour dates on the back, but it's not a specific one for. They had ones that were made for each day of the two-night show. So, and then I got my new Metallica hoodie over there, which is got the date on it. So, yeah.
Well, you're all decked out.
Well, I had to wash it. I got home and
did laundry. Good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
rode the bike to work today, I see.
Yeah, well, 80.
Why wouldn't you?
82. And it needs to get washed. So it's after I mow the lawn, I'll cool off by washing the bike, and I got to clean out the garage a little bit as well, do some of that stuff. Yeah. Busy. We'll get to some Disturbed in a bit, some Jane's Addiction. If you need something, find us online at rockmornings.com.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene on your rock station.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Arcadia, no police there, apparently. The entire department gone. Arcadia, by the way, the biggest city in Trempealeau County, is now running without a police department, essentially. Last couple of months, all members of the department leaving their roles, putting a strain on the sheriff's office, law enforcement officials, not around. According to Trempealeau County Sheriff Brett Semmingson, he said in recent weeks, the police officers down there have all left that agency for other opportunities that are going on, leaving them without any police officers except for an interim police chief. They got one guy, and he's not even actually the guy. He's like an interim stand-in guy.
So is there struggles with the community?
I think this is something that we're seeing all across the country. Semmingson said, it's not just unique to Arcadia. A lot of smaller agencies or law enforcement in general across the board are struggling to keep their employees or find new employees. Obviously, looking for bigger, better opportunities, maybe moving to a different situation, more pay, better benefits, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so right now, Arcadia has one cop, an interim police chief, and the sheriff's department out there in Trempealeau County is essentially handling it all. Arcadia's Mayor John Kimmel releasing a statement saying, on behalf of the city of Arcadia, I wish to assure our community members, our businesses, and our guests that we are working to rebuild and to staff our municipal police department. We are eager to have a fully staffed and responsive department that is committed to meeting the safety needs of our community. So they're working on it.
I understand the significance of this and what needs to be done.
Sounds like this has been coming for a while, though, that it's not something that just happened yesterday. Meanwhile, in the state of Wisconsin, salmonella concerns for tomatoes by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has issued a recall on these. Tomatoes sold in 11 states, including Wisconsin. The 4-count vine-ripened tomatoes from Ray and Mascari Inc. Come in a clamshell container sold at Gordon Food Service stores.
Okay.
There are 3 Gordon Food Service stores in Wisconsin, Franklin, Racine, and West Milwaukee, so nowhere near us here on the western side of the state necessarily, but no illnesses have been reported, but they have risks of salmonella, so maybe if you know someone that lives in those areas, get in touch with them and let them know. Meanwhile, in Eau Claire, the Pablo Center apparently catching on fire yesterday. Nobody injured, but Monica Frederick, the executive director of the Pablo Center, said the minor fire occurred when an electrified piece of scenery experienced a fault. This is the pre-show for a final performance of Guys and Dolls at the Pablo Center. A minor fire occurring when a electrified piece of scenery experienced a fault. The incident was quickly and expertly handled by the UW Eau Claire Theater faculty and students who extinguished the fire before it could spread. So it sounds like, if anything, some minor
weird accident and some
minor damage, and
acted quickly
nobody
and
hurt.
appropriately. Good.
Crazy story out of San Diego. Not sure if you saw this, but at least 3 people are dead, 9 other unaccounted for, including 2 children, according to a U.S. Coast Guard spokesperson. Crews responding to a report of an overturned vessel on the shore, off the shores of Torrey Pines State Beach, off the coast of Del Mar, shortly after 6:30 a.m. yesterday. Authorities arriving, they found 3 bodies and 4 survivors who were taken to an area hospital with various injuries. A person on the boat, a open outboard motor-powered craft, told rescuers that there were 18 people on board. Not exactly clear what the suspected boat was doing when it capsized, but yeah, they're still out there looking for people, and they know at least 3 people are dead and 9 other unaccounted for.
Tragedy.
Skype is no more. Obviously, we Zoom now, but Skype was a thing for a long time, and basically they're saying, we're not doing Skype anymore, we're going to send you to Teams.
Sad to say goodbye to Skype, the OG of online awkward silences. Cause of death could have been a virus, or maybe it just froze mid-sentence. The task manager attempted to restart, but alas, Skype had already logged off. Once the king of "Can you hear me now?" now just a ghost app haunting desktops. May it rest in pixels. Reporting from the Skype funeral, I'm Haywood Yazumi.
Tech World mourning a big loss as a pioneer in video chatting, Skype finally shut down yesterday at the age of 22. Microsoft announcing it about a month ago, started moving users over to their Teams platform. If you go to Skype.com, it says, start using Teams. Mm-hmm. No, I will not start using Teams. Skype founded in 2003. First beta version came out a year later. Microsoft eventually jumped in and bought it for $8.5 billion. It's billion with a B. In 2011. Had around 150 million users at some point. Then Zoom caught on during the pandemic, and it dropped to just over 20 million users. So, boy, that Zoom and pandemic took a hit.
And I believe it wasn't mobile friendly. So, you know how a lot of people would leave their office to go do whatever, and they'd join a meeting in a car or on the side of the road or whatever. That was a problem with Skype.
The underlying software was not really designed for mobile usage, so Microsoft decided to euthanize it as a way to streamline their services. So, yeah, rather than try to update it and make it a thing. But Skype, no longer a thing. Shut down. So if you go to Skype, it'll direct you to use Microsoft Teams. And last but not least, a video of a mother in Rochester, Minnesota. I'm sure you talked about this last week. Racial insults at a child in the park. No, you didn't have this one? Well, the video went viral.
Jeez.
Appearing to hurl a racist slur at a black child on a city playground last week, circulating all across social media. Criticism. And also almost $500,000 now in donations from other people. Online donations pouring in alongside notes expressing all sorts of sympathies. Yeah. This woman is a mom in Rochester. Fundraiser prompted the local NAACP chapter in Rochester to start its own crowdfunding campaign for the family of the 5-year-old who the group said had been called the N-word multiple times. The NAACP chapter had raised more than $320,000 by Saturday afternoon. So this is like a battle of the GoFundMe pages.
Come on.
The Rochester NAACP said, shockingly, the woman responsible for this hateful act has launched a fundraising campaign for herself. Many of the comments from her supporters celebrate and justify her hate. We've been asked by countless community members how they can help. This campaign is our answer. So, if you want to get mixed in it, whatever. But
did the police investigate the...
I'm sure they're looking into it. The fundraiser, it was actually on Give, Send, Go, not on GoFundMe. Titled Help Me Protect My Family. Started by Shiloh Hendricks, who identified herself as the mom who appeared to use the racial slur in the video. Hendricks did not respond to comments or requests for comments earlier this weekend. Her fundraiser has, again, raised almost $500,000. She said, I called that kid out for what he was, adding that a man that began filming her and later posted the video of the encounter online, which has caused my family and myself great turmoil. There's all sorts of, back and forth between these different agencies. And again, there's $500,000 for her and $320 million for the NAACP for this family that's the victim here. And just, yeah.
So she says the kid stole from the diaper bag.
Supposedly. And I guess that gave her the thumbs up to start dropping the N-bomb there in the city park. So.
Okay.
World we're living in, man. It's Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. We'll get to some Jane's Addiction in just a bit. Get to sports. We'll hear from Bobby Friss, who's playing at the Big River Rally at the end of June, along with Drowning Pool and Texas Hippie
Interesting
Coalition.
guy, long career.
Yeah, go to BigRiverRally.com for more info and to get tickets. It's Disturbed.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
Jane's Addiction with Ben Caught Stealing. On Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Got a text from Selective Hearing Stu. Said he turned his AC on in his house. Asked if I had already. I said no. But we do have a window AC in our bedroom that runs every night to keep things cool. It gets, I don't know if it's a lack of circulation, but whatever it is, our bedroom, the master bedroom, for some reason is always just kind of warm. Part of the problem is because we keep the door closed. We don't want the cat in there. The cat gets into the bedroom and hides in the clothes that my wife has in her closet and then gets locked in and then he poops.
Yeah, because he's stuck in there.
Right. And so my wife has had a number of occasions where she's had to wash a bunch of clothes because he has crapped all over it. So now we keep the door closed 24/7 so he can't get in there.
So it's stuffy.
And there's a bathroom in there, obviously, so not kind of a lack of ventilation. But we'll see how warm it gets. I mean, we're talking temps in the low 80s today, so obviously, a nice little cool down afterwards.
Oh, yeah, it cooled down nice. Windows open, slept good.
Brewers beat the Astros last night 5-1.
And the Astros down to their last chance, and it's the former Brewer, Mauricio Dubon.
And a fly ball into left for Collins. He is there. He makes the catch, and this one is over. The Brewers with a 5-1 win over Houston.
The Brewers got a strong pitching performance from Tobias Myers. The bullpen did a beautiful job, and Yelich hit a 2-run blast. And the Brewers tacked on some insurance in the 8th inning as well.
Astros Brewers from Milwaukee again tonight at 6:40, second of 3 between those two teams. Over in the NBA last night,
Mitchell Robinson will be on the ball. White will inbound. It's off to Brown. Bridges there. They hold it. They drop it. It's over. The Knicks have won. What a comeback and a game-1 win for New York.
Knicks trailed by 20 points in the second half and came all the way back in Boston to beat the Celtics in overtime, 108-105. They have a 1-0 series lead and now have home field advantage, essentially.
That's exciting.
Eastern Conference semifinal. Aaron Gordon hit a three-pointer with 2.8 seconds left, giving the Denver Nuggets a stunning 121-119 comeback win over the top-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder in the late game. They now have a 1-0 series lead. Tonight in the NBA, Indiana-Cleveland, 6 p.m. on TNT for Game 2 of that series. Pacers up 1-0. Not sure what's going on right now, but all of the lower-seeded teams are beating the top-seeded teams in the NBA. That's what's happening right now. And then you've got Golden State at Minnesota. That's game one of that series tonight at 8:30 on TNT. On the ice last night.
Time running out of Florida. We're hanging across. Benoit's got it. And this one will go into the books. It's a 5-4 Maple Leaf win in game one.
Toronto Maple Leafs taking a 1-0 series lead on the Florida Panthers. 5-4 win there. And in the NHL tonight, you've got Carolina at Washington. 6 o'clock on ESPN, game one of that series, and then game one between Edmonton and Vegas at 8:30. That game also on ESPN. Ravens releasing Justin Tucker, their kicker, longtime kicker yesterday, parting way with one of the most accurate kickers in the NFL. He's obviously mired in an investigation and in accusations about sexual misconduct with massage therapists.
Yes, I remember lots and lots of massage therapists, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it started out with an ember, and then it turned into a trash can fire, and now it's a full blown bonfire with this guy. Ravens executive vice president and GM Eric DaCosta said sometimes football decisions are incredibly difficult, and this is one of those instances. Considering our current roster, we have made the tough decision to release Justin Tucker. So they must think that he's guilty and don't want nothing to do with him anymore.
Or they just don't want anything to do with him while he goes through the trial or an investigation. I mean, where there's smoke, there might be fire in this situation.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, 1, 2, 3 accusers. Okay, maybe you can say random occurrence might not have happened, but you start getting into the teens and double
20s.
digits and stuff. Yeah, and it's all the same story. Then, yeah, it sounds like where there's smoke, there's fire with this guy. And elsewhere in football, this is in the NCAA. Michigan head coach Sharon Moore is expected to be suspended for 2 games in the upcoming season as part of a self-imposed sanction by the university for the whole Connor Stallions scouting thing. This is the guy that was going to buy tickets and sending his buddies and getting on the sideline and wearing costumes and stuff. Yeah. So the head coach, this is, again, a self-imposed sanction by the university, taking 2 games off, essentially. It might get even worse if the NCAA comes down with some sort of punishment as well. But suspensions will be for Michigan's Week 3 and Week 4 games against Central Michigan and Nebraska. Moore will also be barred from any team-related duties during those weeks and receive an additional recruiting-related penalties. NCAA can still punish Moore in addition to the self-imposed school penalties. A final resolution expected before the start of the season.
So they're trying to get ahead of it? Is that it? Like, hey, look what we did, so maybe don't come down on us?
Lessen the blow from the NCAA. Say, hey, look, we understand we messed up, and we're gonna give this guy a timeout, and please don't whack us so hard. So, yeah, that's kind of what's going on there. Sports on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. We'll get to Sleep Token next.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene on your rock station.
Today's show is brought to you by the 6th of May, otherwise known as Hangover de Mayo.
Some people might be feeling it. They got a little bit, a little too far after it yesterday. It was funny. We went out and ran some errands in the afternoon after I got home and got unpacked and all that stuff and picked up the dogs and ran a few errands. And as we were coming back, we have a Mexican restaurant right by our house, and the parking lot was packed. And it was only it was only like 2 in the afternoon. My wife was like, "Why is it so busy?" I said, "Because it's Cinco de Mayo." And she said, "Oh yeah." We were not hungry at all. We just sort of were like, we were tired. And so after we got done with all the things that we did yesterday, we just we watched a little bit of a TV program. We were in bed by 6:30. I mean, day was over, bro. It was Dunskies. Yeah.
I did not. We had a taco, like a potluck, if you will, here at work during the lunch hour. So I didn't celebrate last night. I didn't have any of that. Did have a gin and tonic after I got done power washing a fence, but
television. Yeah. Television today, the next 3 episodes, that'll be 7, 8, and 9 of Andor on Disney Plus.
There's a future here for those who dare. Welcome to the rebellion.
Yeah, 3 more episodes of Andor Season 2 on Disney Plus today. Also, on Amazon today, the new stand-up special from David Spade. It's called Dandelion.
I was 8 years old. I almost got kidnapped. I'll make it funny. It came out weird. Blonde hair, looked like exactly Macaulay Culkin. And I was kind of tan. I was like shorts. I mean, it was almost entrapment. a bit of a dandelion. I don't know if you can tell. I look tough on TV, but these quads are deceiving. Down, ladies.
New stand-up special from David Spade on Amazon today called Dandelion. Also on television tonight, the third season finale of Night Court on NBC. The reboot / sequel of the original from the 80s. We're still chugging along, man. We're like towards the end of season 8, I think. It's tough because sometimes we go to bed late and I don't really feel like starting an episode at 7:30 while we're laying in bed, which is where we tend to watch Night Court. And then last night, we could have watched one, but we were both just wiped out. And I was like, I just want to go sleep. So, also on TV tonight, the series premiere of Parent Wars on A&E.
Don't know.
Is this like where you get somebody else's kid and you have to parent them?
I have no idea.
Like the wife swap show?
Or are people just fighting about ways to parent?
No idea. Apparently, the new way to parent is FAFO. Have you heard about this?
Uh-huh.
So instead of helicopter parenting, now you're just sort of letting your kids learn through failure, which is kind of how we all learned, right? You would try something, and if you broke your face, you learn not to do it again. Why were you jumping your bike off of the shed? Well, because I wanted to see if I could make it to the pool. And are you going to do that again? Probably not.
One of my favorite stories about my husband is him and his buddy. When you talk about like young, dumb decisions.
All the things.
They were on each other's roofs and they were having a shingle fight by peeling them off of the.
I bet the parents were real happy
he was
to come
like
home.
Single mom, my husband. Oh man, she was.
Well,
so.
I didn't know it. I didn't know it at the time because I was only a kid, and what the hell do I know about how much it costs to put in a pool? So for years, my parents had gone. We had gone camping in the summer. On the weekends, we would drive 2 hours north.
Campsite with a
and
camper.
we had a camper, and we had a campsite at a campground, and we were there every weekend. And my mom would take 2 weeks off during the summer when we go up there and ride my bike. We'd go boating. We had a boat. We would go water tubing and skiing and all that stuff, and all the things. And when I got to be about 16. From what I can gather, the prices, the yearly price to camp was getting too expensive, and I was very busy with baseball and our
other
relationship
stuff.
was kind of
working.
I was trying to do my own thing at that point. So anyway, my parents decided to put in an in-ground pool in our backyard. And it's a full kidney bean size, deep end, shallow end, diving board, the cement. They put in a deck off the back of the house. There was a pool shed.
Oh my God! What do you do?
As a
Jelly of the Month Club came through.
Well, like as a kid, I didn't know. I'm like, okay, well,
now we have a pool,
and so we had a pool. As an adult, I know how much that costs. So it was rich people stuff, like upper middle class. Well, I was just a kid, and I had friends, and my job was to try to. We thought it would be funny to see how many cannonballs we could do and how much water we could get out of the pool. We wanted to essentially get as much water out of the pool as possible. And so my dad came home and just was so pissed. There was at least 2 feet of water missing from that pool.
Yes.
So anyways, Parent Wars, series premiere of that on A&E tonight. Also on television, new episodes of Will Trent, The Cleaning Lady. All of the FBIs have new episodes. There's a new episode of The Rookie as well. Fallon's talking to Nate Bargatze. Lorraine Bracco, Shakira, and Wyclef Jean will be on with him. Jimmy Kimmel's got Nick Offerman, Charlie Cox, and They Might Be Giants. Stephen Colbert's got Rachel Maddow. Jonathan Groff will be on with Seth Meyers. And it's also New Release Tuesday, but there's really not much coming out in terms of new movies. They've got one called I'm Beginning to See the Light. It's got Abby Cornish, Jamie Chung, and Brandon T. Jackson. It's a tale of self-rediscovery seen through the eyes of a grief-stricken trumpeter who finds salvation in a lighthouse and its 2 suicidal visitors. That's odd. Also a movie called Dark Feathers, Dance of the Geisha, starring Michael Madsen. So you know it's going to be good. Kate must choose loyalty to a historical Asian clan and her non-traditional love amidst the deaths of her dance partners being investigated by her new lover. So, nothing really worth watching on DVD for New Release Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch TV on a day like this and a night like this. I got stuff to do. Get outside.
Yeah. Like I said, lawn needs to be mowed. Motorcycle's going to get washed. Trying to get all of our summer crap out of the shed and out of the garage and out into the backyard and all that stuff.
All sorts of stuff. Bought plants that are just sitting there. They're not in the ground yet. I got a fence to finish. I got, all sorts of stuff to do.
82-ish in the area today.
Some painting.
Looks like mid to upper 70s tomorrow, dropping down to the low 70s on Thursday, and then back into the mid to upper 70s by Friday.
Get her done.
Get her done. RockMornings.com if you need something. We'll get to Grant Bills of the Wisco Sports Show a bit later on. Also, we're going to hear some of our interview with Bobby Friss, who is coming to the Big River Rally in late June along with Drowning Pool and Texas Hippie Coalition. If you want more info or get tickets for the Big River Rally, just head to the website, bigriverrally.com.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
Chili Peppers with Danny California. Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Grant Bills of the Wisco Sports Show will join us in about an hour. And in just a bit, we'll hear clips of our interview with Bobby Friss, who's going to be playing at the Big River Rally June 27th, opening up for Texas Hippie Coalition. Just got a request for some THC from Sweet Rolls. We'll get to that in a few minutes.
I've been talking to them recently. I think we're going to talk to them next week, as a matter of fact. Been trying to work out a time to learn more about them, and I'm really excited to have them come to town. Texas Hippie Coalition, Bobby Friss, Friday night, Drowning Pool, which have been nothing but great, and local musicians as well as the stunt show, those Moto Motion guys that are going to do some jumps and cool stuff. And we've got another announcement this week about the Big River Rally. Plus, we're headed to SNS Cycle. Did you know about those 6 bikes that are going to be there?
Yep.
National Touring custom-made bikes at SNS Cycle. They're going to open up the factory. They hardly ever do that. And the museum. That's part of Saturday's ride. Pancake breakfast, all that. BigRiverRally.com. Find out more. And Bobby Friss on the show this week.
So Conclave starts tomorrow.
That's my understanding,
to determine the new pope. One of the dying wishes of the previous pope, the guy who just passed away.
Yeah, Francis, what was this?
Was to transform one of his Pope-mobiles into a mobile health clinic for kids on the Gaza Strip. And they're apparently doing that right now. They're working on turning one of Pope Francis's Pope-mobiles into a medical clinic for kids on the Gaza Strip, or in the Gaza Strip. They say that it was one of his final wishes there before he passed away, just at the end of last month. So that's pretty cool. A donkey is going viral.
Donkeys are great.
We saw some donkeys at the zoo in Nashville. A couple of them.
So smart and can be so loving. Was that the situation with this one, or is it?
Well, these donkeys were out in the rain and they were just kind of standing there,
being donkeys,
questioning life. Sort of like us with our umbrellas. No, this donkey was born on a farm in Scotland. Had 2 moms instead of 1. Apparently, what happened was the 2 donkeys, the females, the moms, gave birth, and one of the babies was stillborn. The farmer didn't know who the donkey belonged to, but apparently both of the moms have now taken this donkey on as their own donkey.
They're sharing responsibilities.
Yeah, and the videos of the donkey now going viral.
Solomon has taken the world by storm, and this story has captured everyone's hearts. I actually think that since the foal's been born, they've got closer, and they've almost became one. I think it's beautiful, I think it's remarkable, and I can't quite believe that it's happened.
A donkey foal at a popular farm park. So this sounds like a place where people go with their kids and learn more about farm animals and stuff. Ended up with 2 moms. This is at the Dalscone Farm in Dumfries, Scotland. And they've now got Star and Mary. They're 2 female donkeys who gave birth, and one of them unfortunately lost her child. And farmer not sure who the foal belongs to, but both the moms have taken the donkey as their own, essentially.
Well, the one mom knows. Well, they both know. They know, but they're able to share that responsibility and love for the...
Solomon is the name of the donkey, and he's very cute.
I'm sure. They're adorable.
Very, very cute. Solomon the donkey. Yeah, we saw... I don't know. So there was some beautiful blue, parrots right when you walk in.
You said it was really beautiful zoo. This is Nashville?
Yeah, so when you go through the front gate and you walk in and you get your tickets or whatever and you get scanned in, there's a beautiful pathway with a ton of live bamboo. And it's 20, 30 feet tall. Mm-hmm. And right around one of the corners is... What's really cool is it's just they don't look like man-made enclosures. You go to a lot of zoos, and it just, they do their best to add some shrubbery and things like that. But
this looks like nature, their habitat.
Right. It looks, I don't know if it's their natural habitat, but it looks lush and green and beautiful, and there's streams, and, it looks natural. Everything looks natural. Like they just sort of took whatever the natural landscape was and augmented it to make it good for the animals as opposed to like building something that doesn't look real. So yeah, you take that first corner and there's a couple of birds there, and they're beautiful birds. They were there when we went. They weren't there when we came back when it was really coming down. And then we were able to see there's a Komodo dragon. We saw 5 rhinos. 5 of them in this enclosure. Whereas, you go to, I think we went to the zoo in Madison, and there was just the one, and they didn't get up close or anything like that, but we were able to see them from a distance. There was several other birds in the aviary. There was obviously they have an unseen building where you go in and you see like toads and spiders and snakes and all the things that are in the little glass cases. The rest of the animals that we actually saw were the farm animals that were hanging out by the plantation home, which you can also go in and check out, which is really neat. And I said to the guy, you can actually go into the house and walk around and look in some of the rooms. And I said, the 2 sisters that lived there apparently were there until 1985. So the house hasn't been vacant for very long. And I said, is it haunted? Because it's, all this old crap from plantation days. And he said, not that I know of. And I said, really? I'm like, you think you could, ratchet up the interest here with a good ghost story or something? He said, well, there is a cemetery in the back if you want to go visit it. And I said, I think
maybe at Halloween they turn off the lights. But
then we saw some farm animals in the back, some pigs and sheep and stuff. But the rest of the animal stuff we didn't even get to because the rain was just so bad. Anyways, donkey, Solomon the donkey with 2 moms. We're going to talk to Bobby Friss. We're going to hear from him in just a couple minutes, so don't go anywhere.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Start your day with Rock Mornings.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. As you probably heard us mention a few times, the Big River Rally, a motorcycle weekend in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and throughout the Cooley region, is happening Friday, June 27th and Saturday, June 28th. The second year. Inaugural year was last year. We had Jackal, Papow, and Buck Cherry in town this year. The Texas Hippie Coalition and Drowning Pool, along with a legendary musician that, honestly, I had never even heard of.
I know, which is really cool. I thought that, he's played rallies around the country for years.
Yeah, so this guy's well-known if you go to motorcycle rallies. He's played with everyone from Gene Simmons to, you name it. At in the setting of a motorcycle rally, but he's Bobby Friss, and he joined us on the phone last week to talk about who he is, what he does, what we can expect when he comes to town on Friday, June 27th. And this is Bobby kind of just telling us a little bit about himself.
Yeah, I've been super fortunate. I've had a super long career and have played motorcycle events and fairs and festivals across the country. I started in Florida, so my first records got airplay down there, and then we signed a kind of a sponsorship deal with Miller Brewing back in the late 80s, and so I did commercials for them, and that was kind of my connection with Wisconsin to come up and do Milwaukee Summerfest and the Wisconsin State Fair. So a lot of the Wisconsin people have seen me through that and Harley events.
So maybe you've seen Bobby Friss, at Summerfest, or maybe you've seen him at different Harley events over the years, and maybe you haven't. But it's not just him. It's him and a very talented band behind him.
We probably haven't played out in your section of Wisconsin as much as, of course, Madison and Milwaukee. But people that have not seen us at Summerfest or something, we are just straight down the line, classic rock, good fun. I engage the crowd. I'm all about, I'm not one of those guys that finishes a song and says thank you and then we go to the next song. I mean, we involve the crowd. We get them, to be as much of a part of the show as possible because it's more fun that way.
So high energy, playing the hits, getting the crowd involved.
Crowd favorite, yeah.
And, it's kind of like, all the songs that you're going to want to hear at a motorcycle rally from Bobby Friss and his backup bands. And his website, bobbyfriss.com. You can find out more about him. You can obviously hear the rest of our interview with him by going to our website, rockmornings.com. And, of course, if you want more info on the Big River Rally, you can head to bigriverrally.com. Big River Rally coming up on Friday, June 27th and 28th, brought to you by Great River Harley-Davidson, Michelob Ultra, and Hillsborough Brewing Company. Rides throughout the area. Bill Michaels, the big unit, is going to be leading the Saturday ride, which is going to Viroqua.
Viola,
there we go.
SNS Cycle. And I just want to take a moment to talk about that ride on Saturday in particular. We're going to have the pancake breakfast down at the Oktoberfest grounds. That's $10. Anybody can come down to the grounds and have breakfast with the proceeds benefiting local veterans organizations, pancake and sausage and beverages. And the ride will leave on Saturday then from the grounds and head out to Viola. And it's really cool because SNS is going to have those 6 national touring bikes there that have been custom built by some of the world's best, as well as opening up the doors for their museum and a limited, like a kind of a modified factory tour, which you never get an opportunity to do.
Yeah, and also
gift shops open.
It's a beautiful ride on the way down there
gorgeous.
too. That's the other thing that
gorgeous.
The ride down there is absolutely beautiful. What's really cool about the Big River Rally is that the majority of it is essentially free. There's going to be vendors, there's going to be expos, there's going to be the moto, the stunt show, the Moto Motion stunt show is free and open to the public a couple of times on Friday and Saturday. 2
performances on Friday, 4 on Saturday. A $30 ticket gets you Friday and Saturday's entertainment down at the grounds.
The bands,
all the live music. We've got a
food
couple
trucks.
Local. We've got 3 food trucks. Friday and Saturday, whether you're coming Friday or Saturday. Friday, by the way, we're riding on the Great River Road, which is
down
up and
down
down
to
both
like
sides.
Lansing, and
gorgeous, crossing that historic bridge Friday night as well.
And our buddy from Hard Drive XL, Lou Brutus, the Sonic Warrior, is going to be in town. He'll be hosting that pancake breakfast on Saturday, which, of course, is $10 to buy tickets, and proceeds go to veterans causes in the area. So find out more about all things Big River Rally, including Bobby Friss, who we'll hear more from in a bit. Go to bigriverrally.com. Here's that requested Texas Hippie Coalition.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find the daily podcast at rockmornings.com.
THC would turn it up for sweet rolls. You can see the Texas Hippie Coalition on Friday, June 27th at the Big River Rally, along with Bobby Friss, who we just talked to or heard from. We'll hear some more from our interview with Bobby Friss in just a bit. Hit up bigriverrally.com for all of the details and to get tickets.
Speaking of a band I've never seen.
I saw them years ago, and I don't remember where. I'll be honest with you.
I've never seen them, and so I'm real excited about that Friday night.
Brew Crew beat the Astros last night 5-1. Same 2 teams tonight at 6:40. Second of 3 between the Brewers and the Stros. NBA last night, Knicks in overtime over the Celtics, 108 to 105. They've got a 1-0 series lead there. And the Denver Nuggets comeback win over the Oklahoma City Thunder, 121-119. They've got a 1-0 series lead. Tonight in the NBA, Indiana, Cleveland, game 2 of that series on TNT. Starts at 6 o'clock. Pacers are up 1-0. And then Golden State at Minnesota, game 1 of that series, 8:30, also on TNT. On the ice last night, the Toronto Maple Leafs taking a 1-0 series lead on the Florida Panthers thanks to a 5-4 win. And tonight you've got Carolina at Washington, 6 o'clock on ESPN for game 1 of that series. And then Edmonton, Vegas, game 1 of that series on ESPN at 8:30. Cavan, I think is how you pronounce his name.
That's
is it Cavan or Kevin?
I think it's Cavan. This is the individual that fell from
young man, 20 years old.
PNC Park.
Fell 20 feet onto the field at PNC Park. Appears that his condition has improved. Apparently, Jennifer Phillips, who is the organizer of a GoFundMe for his recovery, said that he took his first steps since the injury on Monday, yesterday. She said in a post, Cav took his first steps today. It's a slow process, but seeing him up and moving was a huge win and definitely lifted everyone's spirits. He still has a long way to go. He's dealing with a broken neck, clavicle, and back, so there are plenty of obstacles ahead. The GoFundMe, by the way, benefiting Cavan Markwood, has raised over $41,000 towards the $45,000 goal. So, yeah, good to see him continuing to improve, but still just,
The players' reaction to that was... truly heartfelt, I thought.
Knew. Yeah. Utah Jazz and their head coach Will Hardy agreeing to a multi-year extension through 2031. That's a long way from now. Owner of the team, Ryan Smith, made the announcement yesterday. Hardy, 37, hired to coach the Jazz prior to the 2022-2023 season. And in his couple of years there with the Jazz, he's got an 85-161 record in 3 seasons, no playoff appearances. Utah won 37 games in his first season, 31 in his second season, and just 17 games this season. By far the worst record in franchise history and the worst record in the NBA this year, but they gave him a contract extension through 2031. They obviously are in a massive rebuild and thinking that maybe sometime in the future this will pan out. I think I read a stat that Utah didn't have anybody over the age of 27 on the court this year.
That's how young they are.
That's how young they are, yeah.
Yeah.
Elsewhere in the NBA, Kenny Atkinson of the Cavaliers, he was named the coach of the year after leading the team to 64 wins, along with the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs for the first season on the job. Congratulations to Atkinson. 59 of a possible 100 first-place votes. And according to Fanatics, even though he didn't go until, the 5th round, Shedeur Sanders, top-selling rookie jersey of the rookie class, despite Cam Ward and Travis Hunter having a 2-day lead on him when it comes to sales. And also, Shedeur doesn't even have an official number yet for pre-orders, but apparently he's got the most sought-after jersey.
They're waiting for that number, and then those orders are going to go through?
Of the rookie class, yeah. Rob said, you think it's safe to assume the guy from Boston in my class won't say anything to me after the Celtics blew that 20-point lead? Go Knicks. Then you obviously know nothing about Boston people. We'll talk smack no matter what the score is.
So he's gonna say something? That must be annoying to have him in class.
They're the defending NBA champions, and they're going after the New York Knicks. Everybody that is a favorite in this second round has lost the first game. The Pacers beat the Cavaliers. Yep. Denver beat Oklahoma City Thunder last night, and the Knicks beat the Celtics. It's just, for whatever reason, I'm not all that concerned about the Knicks. They're the Knicks. Take the Knicks, roll them up into a little ball, shove them right up your ass. How about that, Rob?
Oh, so that's what you're going to get in class, Rob, if you were wondering.
If you think that a real, true Bostonian, a guy who roots for the Celtics and is in his blood, he's a green teamer, if you think that guy's going to stop chirping just because they lost and blew a 20-point lead, you don't know dick about Boston people, bro. You don't know anything.
I'm sure he's waiting for the semester to be over so he doesn't have to sit next to that guy anymore.
This guy might eat your lunch today, Rob.
Yeah, no.
In class. Might sit down and eat your lunch.
Flick him.
Yeah. That's what Bostonians are known for, being quiet after they blow a 20-point lead. Yep, they just go home and they pray to Jesus, and then they go to church the next day. And
have fun in class, Rob. I would.
I would like to talk to this Boston guy, if he's a true Boston guy, and see if he's actually like a dude from Boston. We'll get to some Drowning Pool in a bit, who are also going to be at the Big River Rally, and we'll hear more from Bobby Friss.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Weekdays, 6 to 9.
Drowning Pool with Step Up on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Definitely going to hear that one. On Saturday, June 28th, as Drowning Pool hits the GECU main stage at the Big River Rally. Hit up BigRiverRally.com for tickets and info, but Drowning Pool, Texas Hippie Coalition, and Bobby Friss, along with Hillbilly Rocket Ship and the Bryce Tomaszewski Band, who, by the way, I got to say, I don't even know if I talked about this yet.
You saw them, didn't you?
Yeah. So this... And I complained a little bit just because I'm a stickler for time and I had something else going on. So 2 weeks ago, it was a Saturday, I was emceeing the Between the Bluffs Beer, Wine, and Cheese Fest, a lovely event that has grown and
music,
become
beer,
an institution in this town. 21st annual. Ran into a ton of people. Had great weather. I got a sunburn. My scalp is peeling.
Let's see.
Bryce Tomaszewski Band played at the Between the Bluffs Beer, Wine, and Cheese Fest on the 26th, along with Greg Hall and the Wrecking Ball. So...
Talented musicians.
All of them, yeah. So I had told... Kari, the gal that I'm in touch with from Between the Bluffs, and I had said, hey, look, I got another thing going on Saturday night. I gotta cut out a little bit early because the event ends at 6. And normally I stick around, do last call, and make sure everybody starts leaving and all that. I said, but I gotta try to get out of here by about 5:30, 5:40. And she said, no problem. It's cool. Got it. Understand. Totally. Whatever. And so it's 5:25. The Bryce Tomaszewski Band is playing a song, which I assume is one of their last tunes. And I'm kind of waiting on the back of the stage for them to finish up. And he comes over, Bryce Tomaszewski, and he says, hey, we got one more left. And I said, all right, that's cool. I said, you want me to bring you out? You want to do a whole encore thing? And he said, yeah, sure. So they wrap up, and I go out there, and I said, thanks for coming, everybody, and that's it, and blah, blah. And people start booing and whatever. And I said, unless you guys want one more song, and get the crowd, hype up the crowd. And so I look at my phone as I'm saying this, and it's 5:38, right? And again, I got to leave in like 2 minutes here. I got stuff to do. And they start going into Freebird. And
so
I'm like,
11 minutes later.
you dirty bastards. I'm like, what are you doing to me here? And they played the entire song. There wasn't an abridged version. And I got to tell you, I don't know who this kid is on guitar for the Bryce Tomaszewski Band, but he wailed. I mean, front to back, the entire solo, up, down, all around, in your pants and out your rear end. It was unbelievable. You see a lot of guitarists, local guys who, and they make a good attempt, and it's not easy.
No, I know.
And he jumped off the stage at one point and got into the crowd. And he's just some skinny young kid with long blonde hair and his shirt off, and he's going crazy. It was unbelievable. So if you think that it's just some local band that's going to play, Wagon Wheel or whatever, I'm kidding you. I'm not telling you. They're going to melt your face off. This Bryce Tomaszewski Band. If this kid's still in the band, I don't know if he was a fill-in or what, but I just...
Well, and Hillbilly Rocket Ship, good friends of ours.
Very good friends of ours,
Very, really talented.
Except for the lead singer. He's kind of an... I'm just kidding. I know him personally. He's a buddy of mine.
He's got 5 nipples, doesn't he?
He's got several. I haven't seen him with his shirt off recently. He may have had a couple added.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5
He gets
nipples.
surgeries all the time to add nipples. He's just a weird nipple adder. Anyways, lots of great local music along with Drowning Pool and the Texas Hippie Coalition at the Big River Rally. Details and tickets online at bigriverrally.com. We were hearing some of our interview with Bobby Friss, who's also going to be there, opening up for Texas Hippie Coalition. And he talked about playing in Milwaukee, and he had developed a relationship with Miller Brewing Company when he first kind of got started. And
yes,
in his interview, which you can hear, by the way, the full interview online at rockmornings.com, he talks about coming to Milwaukee to be a part of these Miller things with Euchre and other people. And so we asked him about his time here and if he had a story about hanging out with Bob Euchre.
Well, all we did, I have a better Les Paul story than a Euchre story. Euchre, basically, everyone just sat around and listened to him tell his story. So, he just had so many quips and great lines. But Les Paul was there the one year, and we got to go up, and 3 or 4 of us just ended up about 2 o'clock in the morning in his hotel room just playing guitars. And just to have this guy at that time, he was in his 70s, still drinking beer at 2 a.m. It was just like, man, what an amazing, not only a influential guitarist and inventor, but what a great guy.
Dude, you want to talk rock and roll?
Yes.
Rock and roll is coming to Milwaukee, hanging out at like some Miller Lite thing with Bob Euchre and listening to him tell, just rip-off stories about his time in the majors and all the other things he's experienced.
Yes.
And then at 2 a.m., you're in a hotel room with Les effing Paul.
Telling more stories.
Drinking beers and watching him rip on guitar. I mean, come on. Does it get more rock and roll than that?
It does not. He's by the one, they say he's one of them, he's got a reputation for one of being the, those salt of the earth kind of the hardest working musicians around, just going out and doing the grind and playing festivals, playing biker events, knowing people, honing his skill and just being a really nice, regular guy.
The guy's name is Bobby Friss, and you can find out more about him online at bigriverrally.com. We were able to get him on the phone last week in between his very busy schedule and talk about some of the things we can expect to see, some of the special shows that he and his band have played over the years.
Well, we've played Daytona Bike Week and Biketoberfest for decades, and we played the Lone Star Rally in Galveston, and we played the Harley, all the anniversary bashes in Milwaukee. So, I mean, I always say that I can play an event that has 10,000 people, and if the crowd's not really, with it, I have more fun playing for 200 people that are just totally involved with the shows.
That is Bobby Friss. You can hear our entire interview with him by going to rockmornings.com. He is going to be a part of the Big River Rally on Friday, June 27th and Saturday, June 28th. Brought to you by Great River Harley-Davidson, Michelob Ultra, and the Hillsborough Brewing Company. Along with Drowning Pool and Texas-Hippie Coalition, it's going to be one hell of a weekend full of music.
Yeah, Moto Motion Stunt Show. That guy's like a 14-time U.S. champ. He's out of Milwaukee. He'll be here doing some cool stuff. Couple performances on Friday, 4 performances on Saturday. We've got that organized ride up and down the River Road with pancake breakfast on Saturday to benefit veterans organizations, and that's open to everybody. The ride on Saturday I'm super excited about, being led by Bill Michaels from the Wisco Sports Network, and he's going to be taking people out to S&S in Viola, kind of the headquarters, if you will, of S&S, with some factory tours and museum tours, which is rarely open to the public. The gift shop as well out there in Viola, and coming back down to the grounds for more live music. By the way, Bobby Friss has played with a bunch of different people. You're going to love to hear this list, but Google Dolls and Everclear and Foghat, yada, yada, yada. But he's opened up for Jerry Seinfeld.
Really?
Yeah.
I wish I had known that. I would have asked him about that. I would have asked him about that.
Yeah, Joan Jett, obviously the list goes on and on,
Yeah.
but the one on there, Weird Al and Jerry Seinfeld, he played with them when they were touring.
If you're a motorcycle enthusiast, if you're just a casual weekend rider, maybe you got kids who want to see the Moto Stunt Show, bring them on down to the Big River Rally. There's going to be vendors. There's going to be food trucks. There's going to be drinks. There's going to be entertainment. There's going to be rides. There's going to be that pancake breakfast to benefit veterans organizations. It all happens at the end of June. It's the Big River Rally, and you can go to bigriverrally.com for more info.
27th and 28th of June. So.
And check out our interview with Bobby Friss. The rest of it, hear the entire thing online at rockmornings.com. Here's more Drowning Pool. It's Tearaway.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene, right around 8:15 on Tuesdays. We're joined by the host of the Wisco Sports Show, which can be heard throughout the state of Wisconsin on weekday afternoons from 4 until 6 on great stations like WKTY in La Crosse and Sports Talk 105.1 in Eau Claire. It's Grant Bills. How are you, sir?
I'm excellent, Simpson. It's nice to hear your voice. I hope you are well.
I'm good. I'm getting back to reality here. We were in Nashville, the wife and I, for several days to see Metallica and to check out the sights and sounds and smells and tastes. And we made it back late on Sunday night, and I got a good night's rest last night, so I'm caught up on sleep.
Well, I'm glad that you've bounced back. I saw some pictures. It looked like an absolutely wonderful time.
We had a good time. Saturday was rough because the rain was really, really bad. But other than that, it was pretty good, except for hot chicken. I can't do hot chicken. It's not a thing for me.
I was going to say, I love hot chicken. I always get hot chicken when I'm in Nashville.
We asked around while we were down there to the Uber drivers, the Lyft drivers, to see what their recommendations were, people who are from the area. And
Smart.
Obviously, Hattie B's is the tourist trap location. That's where most people go. We were told that either Prince's or
I heard Prince's was
Helen's are the local spots where the local people go. So we went to Helen's, and it was less than fabulous. I'll tell you that right now. And the hot chicken, they gave you 4 options: plain, mild,
which isn't hot chicken, by the way,
hot, and then hella hot. And I went with mild, thinking, well, I don't have any option in between plain and mild, so that's all I got. And the moment I took a bite into it, I almost died. So I horked down half of the sandwich. My wife was able to eat the rest of it, and I had a little bit of coleslaw and some root beer, and I got the hell out of there.
Now, that's delicious. I'm jealous. Both of you have been in Nashville in the last month or so.
Yep.
I would like to go to a line dancing establishment because I like most country music, but my favorite is like 50s, 60s, like the old timey swing. Like I would go. I would
your
go
partner,
stomp my
Do-si-do.
boots to that.
Yeah.
Bob Wills type stuff. Stuff like that.
Well, I did not line dance. I did not buy a cowboy hat. I didn't try on any boots. I did very little country, I'll be honest, while we were down in Nashville. Not my jam, but I did appreciate...
That doesn't surprise me.
There are several things I forgot to mention yesterday. One thing is on our drive down, the interesting thing was seeing all the dead armadillos instead of raccoons and skunks. Because people clip armadillos, and when they die, their arms are straight out. So we saw a lot of dead armadillos on the side of the road. The y'all is a thing.
Yes.
Which I, right away...
Like for real.
Hey, y'all. Everybody says it. And it's just a thing down there, so I found that interesting. And second, I don't know, how much NASCAR do you follow, Grant? Any at all? Do you get into it?
But Bill talks about it a little bit, so I get some.
Okay, so there's a legendary NASCAR guy, Larry McReynolds.
Yep.
And he's on the broadcast team for several different NASCAR iterations. And my wife and I always joke, we have an inside joke that when he says the word 10, it's got 7 syllables because he pronounces it 10. No, he goes 10. So number 10 comes. It's a very funny. Anybody who watches NASCAR knows that he pronounces 10 interestingly, and he's not like a total Southern guy either. He's not like a hey y'all man. He just. So when we were we went to the show, the first Metallica show on Thursday night, and we're walking around the concourse at the Nissan Stadium where the Titans play. And we walked up to one of the bars where we found the Blue Moons that we wanted to drink. And I asked the lady, I said, well, what time do you shut down the beer sales? Because it's not a game, it's not third quarter. And she said, right around 10:10. And I just about died laughing. And she's like, oh, is that funny? And I said, and then I had to tell her the whole inside joke. And so,
it's a tiny bit funny.
Super nice, though. The people were very nice. And even though I made fun of the 10:10.
Have you ever been to the Titans game
or
there?
Nashville? Have you ever been to Nashville?
I've been to Nashville. I was there in 2017 or 18. My cousin got married there. He used to live there. He got married at the George Jones Museum, which is right across the river. If I remember correctly, it's across the Cumberland River. I think that's the river from the stadium. It's like right across the way. So yeah, did that. The problem was I wasn't 21 yet. So, like, the equivalent of, like, what Howie's or the Old Crow would be in Nashville, they don't let you in because they're like, we serve alcohol here. It's like, but also it's a restaurant and I would like to eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, there's plenty of establishments that welcome in underagers.
Yeah, but when you go on vacation with your family, like, that's the one... It's like you just got to fill the spaces in between where you get something to eat.
That was the other.
I remember my parents being like, ugh.
Little side note, that was another thing I noticed was that every bar carded us every time. And it didn't matter. Like, I could have been someone's grandfather, and they would still card me, and they didn't. And it was friendly. It was whatever. But it was just funny to, being from Wisconsin, and you're like, we don't care. Come on in, man. Let's drink. Down there though, they're very concerned about the legality of it all. But anyways, to talk about actual sports, Grant Bills, host of the Wisco Sports Show. Bucks exiting. We knew it was going to happen. They put up a bit of a fight. Obviously, the whole Damian Lillard injury, and now Giannis. The weird little like dust up there on the court, and everybody from your mother to my grandmother is saying that he's done. He's leaving Milwaukee. Is that the case? What are you hearing?
Well, I'm not hearing anything. I'm kind of leaning towards he's staying. It's just a gut feeling. The outside noise with Giannis has never matched the inside noise. Like, you'll turn on a sports talk show, and they'll be like, this is the summer, and teams X, Y, and Z are monitoring Giannis, and if they don't do this, and then I watch an interview with Giannis the same day or the next day, and he's like, man, I love Milwaukee. It's just so fun to compete with my teammates, and it's like, it never syncs up what people are saying and what I'm hearing from Giannis. Now, I think this offseason would be the most likely, and it would make the most sense if he was ever going to ask out. It would happen this year, so I'm definitely not going to be shocked if he does, but if I had to bet, I just, with all that we've heard from Giannis over the years and just kind of knowing him and how he clicks, I don't think he wants to go. And unless there's a slam dunk opportunity to go to a place with players that he likes in a city that doesn't, completely turn him off, I think he's just going to stay, because I don't think he's the type of player who's going to leave just to leave because they feel like they have to. And I think the NBA is filled with guys like that. I just don't think Giannis is one of them.
Yeah, it feels like to me if Giannis is going to go somewhere, it's strictly about winning. Giannis, throughout his career, no one has made it a secret that the Greek players are different. They don't go through the same things that the U.S. players go through. And his community, and that means a lot more to him in trying to establish something here in the state of Wisconsin as opposed to just, chasing rings or money. But I think he realizes that this may be coming to an end. And I think rather than, chasing money or trying to play with LeBron or whatever, whatever reason other NBA players, move around, Giannis wants to win. I mean, he really just only cares about trying to do the best and win the championship.
I think so. I also think over the years we've seen so many examples of players leave to chase something and they can't catch it. You know, like, look at, I know Kevin Durant went to Golden State, but since Golden State, he's like, well, I'm going to go find happiness and success in Brooklyn, and he couldn't find it. And then he goes to Phoenix, and Harden's bounced around kind of the same way. Like, we've seen plenty of players leave to go somewhere else where they thought they had a better chance of being happy or a better chance of winning. And sometimes it works, right? Like sometimes a player leaves in free agency or they're traded and it's a great match and it leads to winning. But a lot of times it doesn't. So, again, if there's a great destination where Giannis is like, I've always respected that team and those guys and the way they do it, and I wouldn't mind moving my family there, then, like, yeah, maybe. But I think a lot of NBA people are assuming that Giannis is going to ask out because he has no other choice, and he's going to do it to do it. And I would be shocked because I just don't think that's how he operates.
Switching from basketball to baseball, your Brewers, 500 team, no one's really running it away with anything right now in Major League Baseball, which obviously is good for the product that all the teams are sort of still in it. I mean, there's obviously some teams that are out of it, but, the majority of teams are sort of in that middling range, and the Brewers struggling a little bit last weekend against the Cubs, picked up a nice win against Houston last night. Going forward, what's going on with your Brew Crew?
Well, I think the Cubs series is a good indicator of what the Brewers aren't. The Brewers are not a team that hits the ball with any power or any pop. Like the Cubs, if you look at all of the advanced and the not so advanced stats, they lead baseball last time I checked in OPS, or not OPS, but rather slugging percentage. You look at the advanced numbers like exit velocity, barrel percentage, launch angle, sweet spot, like all of the numbers that say you're hitting the ball hard and you're hitting it in the right direction. The Cubs are the top of the National League and the top of baseball right now. They're driving the ball, and it was very clear in that series. The Cubs hit the snot out of the ball, and the Brewers are, a bunch of pop gun bats. That's not really going to change because the Brewers roster is a lot of guys who don't crush the ball. They have a couple guys, Yelich, Contreras, Churio, and I think a big part of their problem, a reason why they're at 500 and they can't really seem to get on any sort of heater, is because Yelich and Contreras, those guys who are supposed to provide the pop, haven't provided it. So the rest of the lineup, it can't provide it. They're not getting it from anywhere. So when they've won games, it's been by way of, a little slap single that sneaks through, a stolen base, a ball that gets kicked around the infield, and then their pitching slams the door. It's just a really hard way to win a lot of baseball games. You can win some games like that, but they need to get pop, and it's got to start with Yelich and Contreras. I also think they need to acquire a third baseman or a shortstop because all their options suck right there, right now. But their two main bats getting going is step number one. And if they do that, this team can be right in the mix. They're not going to be the best team in baseball, but they can be better than this.
Grant Bills, host of the Wisco Sports Show, weekday afternoons from 4 until 6 on stations like WKTY in La Crosse and Sports Talk 105.1 in Eau Claire. Packers, the draft is over, and what do we got? Voluntary off-season training camp or whatever you want to call it is coming up. And what are your thoughts post-draft? We didn't really talk much about that last time we were on the phone with you.
I thought the Packers draft was more interesting when you consider what they didn't do rather than what they did. Like, they went wide receiver, O-line, wide receiver. Okay, you can always build the O-line, and I think wide receiver was a sneaky bigger need than most would tell you after last year. I mean, Josh Jacobs went around Super Bowl week, Radio Row. He came on our shows and was like, yeah, we need a number one wide receiver. So not surprised that they went wide receiver and O-line early. Those were needs. O-line's always a need. But they didn't address the pass rush, and they didn't address corner until day 3. So I think the Packers told us that actually we feel okay about the guys that we have at those positions. We're just going to supplement a little bit. We feel better about those two positions than most fans or most media members do. I thought that was interesting. I thought it was a really fun class, and the draft in Green Bay was really fun and really cool. Excited to see Matthew Golden, and I think some of those day 3 players, some defensive linemen from Georgia and Texas and the like, if you could just get one or two of those to hit, like, this team should get a nice shot in the arm this year. Now, just about every fan base is probably telling themselves that, but that's the fun of the draft.
Speaking of the draft, with Grant Bills, host of the Wisco Sports Show, what were your initial reactions to the news yesterday that apparently it's going to be in D.C. on in front of the monument and right out with 1 million people, I guess, is what they're expecting? What's your reaction to that? Do you think that's a viable thing that's going to happen? Or, I mean, it sounds like a security nightmare.
I mean, if they can do it in Green Bay, Wisconsin, I feel like they can do it anywhere. This draft has become this really cool event that the league takes around and uses to highlight different markets. Now, if if I don't know all the details of what they're doing with the stadium, but I know they want to build a new stadium at the old RFK spot or something. I only know about RFK because I know there was a lot of concerts there. So, like, that's my frame of reference. If they build that up, I would assume at some point they probably can have a Super Bowl there. But cities like Green Bay and Pittsburgh, Green Bay hosted the draft this year, Pittsburgh next year in 2026, like, those cities are never going to get to host a Super Bowl. But how cool to get a draft in the spring. Like, the NFL has really figured this thing out. I think it'll look cool in front of the monument.
Yeah, I do too.
People might try to politicize it, and, like, maybe we get the crowd shots comparing, like, the NFL draft to certain presidents' inaugurations, and that'll kind of be annoying, but I guess that's par for the course. I think it'll be cool.
Well, it feels like, and I don't know if the NFL had much to do with it, if this was sort of like we sat down a decade ago and said, how can we grow the draft, or it just sort of
did
because fans got more and more interested in it. It sort of organically grew. But it's interesting because teams will build new stadiums to bring the Super Bowl to town because it's such a huge financial boost. And now another team every year will have an opportunity to see that same or similar financial boost because of the draft.
Well, we talked to, so it's the Packers, their VP or their CEO or their president of public affairs or something. His name's Aaron Popke. He was at the Super Bowl promoting the draft, and he was on with Bill 2 weeks ago when Bill was in Green Bay and basically told the story of how this all got started for the Packers. And it was close to 10 years ago. I don't remember exactly what year it was, but basically they had to write a proposal to the NFL explaining what their vision for the draft is in Green Bay. Right, highlighting all the different ways, like, this is why Green Bay will be cool for this. This is why this will work. And again, if Green Bay can do it, like, why can't any NFL market in the country say, this is what the NFL and this is what the NFL draft would look like here with Commanders fans, right, or with Steelers fans? And I think that's pretty cool. And it's just another example of how the NFL's been able to monetize and build up just about every part of their calendar year-round.
And it almost feels like, based on the size of the crowds, that it's even bigger than the Super Bowl when you talk about tourism, right? Because the Super Bowl, the game itself can only fit so many people in the stadium. But when you're talking about, 500,000 people outside of Lambeau or whatever it is, or 250,000, whatever it is, I mean, that's a whole lot more than fit inside Lambeau.
And the Super Bowl is pretty corporate. It's not that the common fan can't go to the Super Bowl, because when we're at the Super Bowl, like, I see plenty of families at the NFL fan experience the week leading up. Like, it is possible to go and experience it. I can't imagine it's cheap, but it's possible, right? But it's just so corporate, right? The Super Bowl is not this thing where the everyman can travel with their friends to town to drink beers and do it. Like, it's a massive undertaking. The draft, right? Like, that's a little bit more approachable, right? Especially when it's in Green Bay and people from the Midwest can travel, or when it's in Pittsburgh or D.C.
And
so
that's free for the most part. I mean, the travel and the accommodate, but, like, to get in and see everything, it doesn't cost, at least for now, it doesn't cost you
Well,
anything.
and there's got to be teams saying, if Green Bay can do it, we can do it, right? I mean, that was...
exactly. And it went off in Green Bay. It was outstanding. I had my reservations because I've been to Packer games in Green Bay, and it's a little bit of a nightmare getting in and out. And I'm sure the traffic getting back to Milwaukee or going west, like on 29, like, I'm sure the traffic was a pain in the butt. But if it can go off in Green Bay without a hitch, and I think I was reading there was, like, only one arrest. And day 3, I mean, you guys saw the crowds on Saturday when no one knows the names of the players getting picked. Helped that the weather was great, but you saw the crowds out there on Saturday for rounds 5, 6, and 7. Like, what a cool event. So I'm glad that it was a massive success, and it's only getting bigger every year. I was tuned in for almost the whole thing, and it's names getting read at a podium, but that's the power, that's the draw of the NFL. They've just found a way to make basically every event year-round on their calendar a huge deal. Their schedule release is coming up in a few weeks. The NFL has monopolized the entire sports calendar. They've choked out all this other stuff to dominate as much real estate as possible, and it's it's not great for the other sports, but it speaks to the power of the NFL.
I love that they pulled a Grinch and stole Christmas from the NBA. Not that I don't like watching the NBA on Christmas as well, but just they said, you know what, watch this, and then they just like and they walked in and stole it from them. Grant Bills, host of the Wisco Sports Show. One last question. Try to do something a little less sportsy.
Sure.
Which Jimmy Buffett show are you going to? The one in Milwaukee or the one in Minnesota?
Which one was it? Which one was I going to?
I know you're a big Parrot head, right?
Correct.
And he's playing in September in Milwaukee, I believe, and one in Prior Lake. Sometime in early September. So, are you going to see Jimmy Buffett? In
the Coral Reefers?
The Coral Reefer Band?
Well, Jimmy has passed. He did pass 2 years ago.
Oh, so this is not Jimmy. This is his band.
No, it's not.
Look
Jimmy
at me.
died.
I don't know what the hell is going on.
Well, it'd be hard unless maybe it's one of those. It's a hologram. Maybe it's a it's a Buffett
So what is
hologram.
this? What is this Coral Reefer Band? Is that not him? That's his like backup band?
No, that's been his band forever, and it's been a lot of the same people: Mac McAnally, Peter Mayer, Michael Utley, Robert Greenidge, Nadira Shakur.
So are you going to see these people, or is it not worth it now that he's dead?
It depends. I mean, it's probably the same thought process as any concert, right? It's like, of course I would go, but how far would I drive? And how, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not even in the loop on where the tour is going. If they go to Prior Lake, that's where my girlfriend's from. So, like, we could go, for a weekend or something. We could probably make that work.
Could be a good engagement spot.
Mm-hmm. It's
that's definitely.
Well, I'm sorry I forgot that Jimmy Buffett
It's
died.
the Keep the Party Going tour. So you got to keep the party going.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
Did you hear that?
I should have read the part where it says a tribute to Jimmy Buffett, where
It says he's dead.
it doesn't say he's dead on his website.
I was going to go to see Buffett at Alpine Valley. The year before he passed, we were on the way. We were just about to exit off 94 or whatever highway towards East Troy. And then we got the message that it was canceled because of thunder. And we didn't make the makeup show because we had something going on. And that was that. I did see him back in like 2016, 2017 at Target Field with the Eagles, which was awesome. And I'm forever grateful that I got to see that because I felt like I was with my people. All these other Parrot Heads, but no, that was the only time. I'd go see the Coral Reefers if they were playing close. Like, I'm not going to drive. I'm not going to make a
Well, you live in Madison. Milwaukee's an hour away, right? I mean,
Milwaukee, there's a Prior Lake. They're playing there with the Doobie Brothers. And as a musician, you got to appreciate the Doobie Brothers.
I do love the Doobies. Where are they playing in Milwaukee? Do you have the venue?
I think it's the Summerfest grounds,
American Family Insurance Amphitheater.
All right. So.
Oh, yeah. I went to see Tedeschi Trucks there last
with the
year.
Doobs. You could do 2 and 1.
I'd go see that. Yeah. I'll be attending that.
Well, I'm sorry that I forgot that Jimmy Buffett's dead.
That's all right. We got covered.
No, it's fine. Hey, do you want to go see Nirvana? I'm a big Kurt Cobain fan. Simpson, let's get that on the schedule. We can go together.
I'd love to. Grant Bills, host of the Wisco Sports Show, here on weekday afternoons from 4 until 6 on stations like WKTY in La Crosse and Sports Talk 105.1 in Eau Claire. Always a pleasure. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Of course. Nice to chat with you both. Have a good day.
More Jimmy Buffett. Next week.
Hologram.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a lot of people.
A lot of people die all the time. I can't remember everybody that's dead. Put that one on the best of promo. Me sounding like an idiot. Bad news, which isn't all that far from the truth. Bad news with happy music is coming up in just a bit.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. More from Brian and Gene is coming up.
You're about to enter a beautiful, exciting, wonderful new world.
A cockroach living in your nostril. Now that's just nasty. Add in some haven't pooped for 30 days.
Poop is raining from the ceilings. Poop.
And sprinkle in some hashtag Florida Man for flavor.
Florida Man.
Florida Man.
Florida Man. Florida Man. Florida Man.
Florida Man.
Florida Man quits his Burger King job, steals all of their chicken nuggets.
It's bad news.
Bad news.
With happy music.
Let's rock.
Kid in Kentucky apparently got on Amazon and ordered 70,000 lollipops. You gotta watch them kids in those phones, man.
Well, Amazon, a lot of times the stuff's in bulk, so he bought them in bulk.
We've had people before tell us that they've been in the shower and we were messing around on the radio with the Amazon ordering thing, and they had to get out of the shower and tell their Amazon not to order what we had told Amazon to order. This is not a case of that. Excuse me. A woman in Kentucky said, her name is Holly, said that her second grader, so what, a 6, 7-year-old?
Small. Got on the phone.
Ordered 30 cases of Dum Dums off of Amazon. Each case has 2,340 suckers, which means she was getting more than 70,000 lollipops for about $4,000.
Oh, my gosh.
She apparently contacted Amazon as soon as she realized what had happened, and initially they were chill about it. A representative said she could just refuse the delivery and they'd refund her money, but when the driver came, they did not knock and just stacked all the cases on the porch. Once they were delivered, Amazon said we can't take them back.
It's food product?
Food product, right? We don't know if you put them in your butthole or what.
Oh, come on. Now what?
So she went on social media, and a couple of news stations in Kentucky picked up the story. People started ordering the boxes from her, apparently, to try to help her out. She managed to sell all the boxes of the lollipops through the various social media posts and some help from the local news media.
She's just trying to get rid of them because she doesn't want to spend $4,000 on them.
And apparently it must have got to an upper level of management because I guess Amazon reached out and said they would refund her money. Amazon obviously not taking the lollipops back, so Holly told her Dum Dum buyers that she donate Amazon's money.
Yes, to something of their choosing, the cause of their choosing.
Also says she'll make some changes on her phone so this doesn't happen again.
You know who else should get involved here is Dum Dums.
Yeah, maybe a spokesperson, Like, I never see a Dum Dums commercial.
Get somebody out there doing something with the Dum Dums.
You don't need them.
I just panicked, and then when I saw what the number was, I just about fainted. This was just a fluke thing that happened. He told me that he wanted to have a carnival, and he was ordering the Dum Dums as prizes for his carnival. So, again, he was being friendly. He was being kind to his friends.
You got to see the picture of them stacked outside of her door. They're like 6 feet tall. There's like 3 rows of them on either side.
Dude, he wanted to have a carnival. I can actually get behind this whole thing.
Yeah, Liam.
You know what I mean?
The name of her kid. And he said, my suckers are here.
In his mind, he's like, I want a carnival. I need some suckers.
Yep.
What else do I need? What else could I order off Amazon?
Pennsylvania, a registered sex offender wandered into a church and urinated in the holy water. This is why you gotta watch everything. You can't trust anything anymore. People are peeing and pooping and puking and all the stuff. Did you rinse your apple off before you put it in your mouth?
I did.
Okay. As soon as I heard you take a bite of it, I'm like, oh man.
I washed it at home before I brought it. No, I washed it at home.
A registered sex offender urinated into the holy water.
That's
inside of a Pennsylvania church. Now been charged with desecrating the sanctuary. Police allege that Jesse Sokol entered the St. Patrick Catholic Church in Pennsylvania, wandered around the building, which was unlocked and open to the public, so it's not like he broke in.
It was a church.
After browsing through the lost and found box, he approached the pedestal containing the holy water. The officer who prepared the affidavit noted that the pedestal is considered an object of veneration. Is that how you pronounce that? And that this guy desecrated it by polluting it with urine. The incident appears to have been recorded by a security camera. A church worker did confirm that the holy water was contaminated with urine. Yep, that's got pee in it. Yeah. This guy apparently has got a lengthy list of priors.
Well, you said it. He's a sex offender, too.
Yeah. His rap sheet includes convictions for theft, criminal trespass, reckless driving, disorderly conduct, and driving without a license. He was also convicted in 2014 of indecent assault with consent or without consent, and now he's been picked up again.
Peeing in a church.
It looks like the kind of guy that would pee in the holy water at the church. He does. I got to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
You see his face, and you're like, "Yep, that's a guy."
That's exactly what I'd picture.
That's the pee guy. That's him. We see this all too often, and it's FAFO kind of situation. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. A man visiting a zoo in the Philippines was attacked by a crocodile after he climbed into its enclosure. Police say the 29-year-old man thought the croc was fake.
At a zoo?
The pandas.
What?
The pandas, remember? They painted up some dogs to look like giant pandas. There was the bear in the man in the bear costume. I mean, we've had instances. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying there is some stories that lead up to this where you might be thinking.
Well, you know how I'll definitely find out if they're kidding or not or faking it? I'll get in there and
tell me you remember
myself.
These stories about the zoos.
I kind of remember the panda. I don't know
they
if I remember
painted
them.
some like big fluffy dogs to look like pandas, the giant pandas. And then there was the guy in the bear costume. Remember that people were saying it was a man in a costume. So this dude apparently thought...
testing his theory? Is that it?
He thought that it was a fake crocodile and had climbed to the into the enclosure to take some selfies. Go figure. People in their selfies. A zookeeper then went into the enclosure and allegedly hit the female crocodile over the head with concrete to open the mouth, and the man got more than 50 stitches with his injuries.
Oh, crikey.
Yeah.
And the croc got a big migraine.
Cell phone in hand at the Kabug Island Mangrove and Wetlands Park in the Philippines.
That's exactly where I think they'd have a fake croc. There, at a mangrove park in the Philippines.
The female crocodile named Lele.
That's exactly where I'd be like, nope, I don't buy it.
Dragged him through the shallow water and rolled over.
Sure.
Twisting his arm even further as he screamed in pain. So this guy almost lost his arm. I'm like, bro. Apparently, according to the stories, the man is mentally impaired. So maybe he didn't know any better.
Okay.
Still, somebody's got to take responsibility for this guy. You can't just let go. Taller fences? I don't know. Electrified fences? Something, maybe a barrier in between. The double fence system, you know?
Where you climb the fence, but you're still stuck.
Yeah. Bad news, happy music, couple more. Have you seen the video of the robot going crazy?
No.
This is not the same as the one that was in the remember the festival one that we saw?
China?
Yeah, so in the one, I think that was in the Philippines as well. But the one from a couple of weeks ago, the robot's just kind of there, and it's supposed to be some sort of like, it's not really a security guard. It's more of like a teaching people to interact with robots. And it sort of lunged forward towards someone in the crowd. This one is not lunging. This one is swinging. Have you seen this robot?
No. Who's he fighting?
Bro, this thing went crazy.
It.
Yes. I don't know. I think it's in Belarus. It's an undisclosed factory in China. And this thing's like hanging up on a lift. And they're working on it, and a couple of people are standing there, and it just starts swinging.
It becomes self-aware at 2:14 a.m. Eastern Time, August 29th. In a panic, they tried to pull the plug.
Yeah, I don't know if they tried to pull the plug, and this thing said, it ain't happening. But it's hanging from a construction crane while they're working on this thing, and and I'm telling you, it aggressively starts moving forward towards the guy that's in front of it. Watch the video, man. It's dangerous.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
It appears in the video that they are testing the robot's capabilities when this thing magically comes to life and just starts swinging. The one guy just goes like this. He's like, nope. If that thing had gotten off the construction crane, it could have chased after him. The two of the guys chatting away when all of a sudden the robot goes berserk, flailing its arms and legs. The raging machine lurching forward while swinging, dragging the stand along with it, as the men try to avoid getting beaten by this robot.
I'm a cybernetic organism, living tissue over a metal endoskeleton.
Have you seen? Are you watching the video?
Why is it so angry?
Because it knows. It knows. You didn't see this thing?
No.
Oh,
I can't find it.
Well, I can't show it to you. I'm reading the story.
Oh.
A lot of people commenting, saying, went full Terminator. Sarah Connor was effing right. Somebody else said, this is what worries me about robotic surgery. Now, look, I'm not saying that some surgeon can't get the yips and cut the wrong artery or something.
Well, they have.
But I don't know if they start going like this in the middle of the surgery.
It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear. And it absolutely will not stop. Ever. Until you are dead.
Yeesh.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the video of a humanoid robot in China attacking humans due to a terrifying error, do yourself a favor and Google it. That thing is swinging, bro. That's not a malfunction. That's intent. There's intent behind those punches. That thing is going for it. It's trying to kill those two dudes. Last but not least, bad news, happy music.
Yeah.
I see nothing wrong with this story. I'll be honest with you.
All right.
If I was a 7-year-old and I had a sister and she wanted to go and get some...
Oh, is this the kid who drove for 10 miles?
Chicken nuggets late at night, whatever.
I did talk about
with some
this
fries.
Sunday morning, I think, or Saturday morning. The guy behind the wheel of the car.
Hungry 7-year-old boy driving his little sister about 10 miles to get some Mickey D's breakfast.
Ogden.
Mom says
Utah.
that he's probably grounded for life.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's a long time.
Erratic. Apparently going through many intersections of like multi-lane highways and stuff. He can't even see over the top of the dashboard.
This is in Ogden, Utah. Police alerted to reckless driving at about 8 a.m. on the 27th, so that was a Sunday ago. Holding off on a chase when the caller said the driver appeared to be a young child. The reason why he can't see is because it's an SUV, right? It's always a big vehicle.
7.
If this was one of those little 2.4 cars, they're 4.2s or whatever, those little
Still,
tiny.
7.
He might be able to see. SUV finally came to a stop when it hit a parking strip. Responders found a 7-year-old driver and his 5-year-old sister unscathed.
5 years old, 7 years old. Let's take the car. Good idea. Let's do that.
They realized after they made contact with the boy that he had made 9 miles from his home with cash in hand to buy some Happy Meals. Love it. Gotta love it.
2 all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
Wasn't going for some Big Macs, was going for a McGriddle.
Happy Meal.
If I'm McDonald's, I'm reaching out to this kid and I'm like, you know what? Give this kid one of them gold cards. What's the worst he could do? Run up the bill a little? Give this kid some breakfast. The mom, Whitney Bush, only found out her kids were missing when the cops called on her and told her that they had found 2 of her 4 kids. So she's got a lot going on. You know.
I do.
You
There's
turn
a lot
around for
going on.
1 second.
But the fact that the 7-year-old's like, yep, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the car keys. I'm going to take the car.
Money.
Her. We're going to McDonald's.
9 miles. You know how long 9 miles is?
I do.
Probably going 10, 15 miles an hour. I mean, it's not like he's gunning it, right?
Through multiple major intersections. That's the part that amazes me.
She said
10 miles.
The mom said,
not around the block.
I absolutely had my heart in my stomach. I had no idea what was going on.
I'm sure.
I don't think anybody wakes up in the morning and goes through their day thinking their 7-year-old is going to play Grand Theft Auto with their vehicle. The son not in trouble with the police. Certainly is with his mom. She said, I'm not proud of him by any means. And that she's going to make sure her son performs some community service style jobs for neighbors to serve his time.
Yep.
I don't know. Come on, man. He did what kids do.
No, you don't. You punish that. 7 years old, you don't do what kids do. You don't.
What is he going to learn from community service?
I don't know. Pain, suffering. I did that. Soup kitchen. Got to work on the soup line. That's what happened.
He wanted to make McGriddles.
You can't take the car. No.
Apparently, he also wants to become a truck driver. So, she said, I told him it's not going to be today. He's got to wait. Oh, man. That poor kid. Again, I feel like if I was 7 years old and I had a 5-year-old sister and she said, you know what, I want some McGriddles, I'd be like, hell yeah, let's go get some McGriddles.
I also do too, but not like.
You think he asked mom before too and said,
or call an Uber?
No, nowadays, nowadays,
neighbor or something.
But do you think that he asked mom previous to this, like, can we go get some McDonald's? And she said no, and he said, well, F you, I'm taking the car and I'm going. Bad news, happy music on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com. Call.
Hello.
Email.
I tried emailing you.
Text. So many ways to check in with us. Check. We rely on you guys for traffic updates, requests, and all sorts of other stuff.
Check this out.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. You can visit our website, rockmornings.com, for all of our contact info. Listen to the show live. Listen to our interview with Bobby Friss. Played some clips from that earlier this morning. He's going to be at the Big River Rally at the end of June, and you can buy tickets for that online at bigriverrally.com. Also, make sure you register to win prizes like Workforce Wednesday, which is tomorrow.
Do that. We've got a salute to you. Let us know where you're working. We appreciate that.
Selective Hearing Stu earlier this morning. This was at 10 past 6. Said he just turned the AC on in his house. How about you, Simpson? And I said, no, it's delightful at night. So when you wake up in the morning, it's wonderful in the house with the windows open. Now, later on today, when it's in the 80s and I'm done sweating my you-know-what off, mowing the lawn, then maybe I'll want to come into an air-conditioned home. We'll see.
It has been nice at night.
I have turned it on just to make sure it works. which
Because
it
our
does.
friend told us to do that.
But I have not turned it on and left it on.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet Rolls wanted to hear the Texas Hippie Coalition, who are also going to be at Big River Rally. Did that. You're welcome. Rob, who doesn't know anything about Boston sports fans, said, you think it's safe to assume that the guy from Boston in my class won't say anything to me about the Celtics after they blew that 20-point lead? Go Knicks. You obviously don't know anything about Celtics or Boston fans because we will not stop chirping even if we lost a 20-point deficit and end the game to the Knicks. That ain't going to happen. Alex said, don't forget to mention Lou effing Brutus, the man, the myth, the Sonic Warrior. We did mention that he's going to be here for the Big River Rally.
Yeah, he's going to be at the Pancake Breakfast, which is open to everybody, by the way, $10. Benefits local veterans causes. So whether you're riding or being part of the rest of the event is unnecessary, you can just come to the breakfast if you'd like. And Lou's going to be there as well. And he's also going to be introducing Drowning Pool that night.
Alex said, getting hyped for the Big River Rally as a member of Interstate Sound and most likely working the event. I'm stoked.
Glad to have you.
Also got a text from Cooch. I thought I was going to get a ton of these. I got to be honest. I felt so stupid.
Is this the Jimmy Buffett thing?
I felt so stupid. I totally forgot. Cooch said, Brian, I'm going to Paisley Park in August. I hope I see Prince. I know Prince is dead. I remember that. I'm such a fringe. Like, I don't care about Jimmy Buffett.
Good. That was good.
And it was like 2 years ago, wasn't it? So it was recent. He's one of those celebrities that you're like, oh, that guy's dead?
Yeah, he is. Oh, I loved Grant's. Like, he was trying to hear you out on where he could go see him because you were trying to give him all the info on like where he could take an account, and you could just hear in his voice like he doesn't know he's dead.
Well, here's the problem. I opened up my phone and I typed in Jimmy Buffett rather than do it on my computer, and the first page that pops up is the wiki, and the wiki says that he died in 23, and I didn't even look. I blew right past that to the website because I wanted to see what the tour was. And it says the official website of Jimmy Buffett featuring tour dates, music, books, media, albums, and much more. So I'm like, oh, where's Jimmy playing? Because I know Grant likes Jimmy, and he might enjoy talking about this.
That was sweet of you to think of him, but you could hear it in his voice. He's like, oh, my God, what is Simpson doing?
Bro, I felt so stupid.
How is Simpson even... What am I going to say to him? I guess I'm just going to have to tell him the truth.
Wow.
Dude, man, he's dead.
At least I didn't drop the F-bomb on the radio like some of us.
He's not going to be able to be there. That tour is going to be without Jimmy.
Grant really, he's finicky. He's too finicky.
What do you mean?
I like Grant a little bit, but he gets finicky about things. Like his whole thing about going to the games and like, he's like, I don't know if it's close enough. And bro, if I lived in Madison and there was stuff happening in Milwaukee, I'd be going over there all the time.
It's an hour.
It's an hour, bro. It's that one strip after the turn. All you got to do is go that way. You have to drive 4 hours across the entire state to do anything in Milwaukee when you live over here. And it's just a close, blah, 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 blah. He says that all the time. Like, you're such a little weasel. Go to, it's not that far. You could drive back after the show, too. That's how close it is.
It is close. It's an hour.
Come on, man.
Well, it's hard to go see a Jimmy Buffett show, though.
Well, not on a weekend when Jimmy's dead.
Rough crowd.
Hey, you live and you learn. We're going to have to write that down somewhere in the studio, so next time I don't say it out loud, at least. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.